inFamous is the first PlayStation 3 game from Sucker Punch. These are the guys who brought you the Sly Cooper games on the PlayStation 2. But in this one, they've gone from cartoony to gritty, because inFamous is basically a comic book that's turned into a video game with some excellent explosive action and a storyline that keeps you guessing all the way through. So you're Cole, you're just this everyday bike messenger who picks up a mysterious package and then unwittingly sets off a huge explosion in the middle of Empire City. So you wake up in the middle of the crater that resulted from this explosion, and you've got these unexplained electric superpowers. You can basically channel electricity and use it as a weapon. And meanwhile, there's a plague ravaging all the people that survived the explosion. There's a bunch of new gangs that have popped up and are terrorizing everybody that's left. And the whole city is under quarantine with all these other superpowered people kind of moving behind the scenes with their own agendas, kind of messing stuff up. So it's obvious that the government's not coming to help anybody, so it's up to you to become the hero or maybe the villain, depending on how you play, who makes a difference in the chaos. Now, the most important thing to know about inFamous is that the action is incredible. I know that I run the risk of hyperbole using words like incredible or amazing, but Sucker Punch has absolutely honed the controls in this game to just a fine point. You know, there are a ton of little factors that define how an action game feels. You know, the speed and precision of the camera, the looseness of your character's movement, how fast you can change your orientation or dodge while aiming. It's a lot of little factors, and all of those factors are absolutely spot on in this game. There's also sort of an urban traversal aspect, some kind of parkour stuff similar to what you saw in Assassin's Creed or Crackdown. Cole can basically climb onto and grab onto just about any ledge or handhold or lamppost, pretty much anything. You name it, he can grab it and climb it. And it's really easy and natural to do that in this game because he basically gravitates toward things that he can grab onto. The game's electric superpowers are just a ton of fun to use. Most of them follow kind of standard archetypes from other shooters and some Star Wars games. You've got just a standard pea shooter, you've got grenades, you've got a rocket launcher, a sniper rifle, you've got kind of a forced kinetic push, you can glide around in the air, and you've got a big explosive ground slam. All these powers coming straight out of those other games doesn't feel like a cop-out though, because the game portrays them in such a way that they feel natural as kind of extensions of your basic electric powers. So when you take the quality of just the basic controls and you couple that with all the ways that you can combine the superpowers together, you've got a game that's just a ton of fun to play. So like seemingly every other game that's come out in the last couple of years, inFamous has got a morality component to it. Some of the choices that the game gives you feel a little bit contrived, but for the most part they make sense within the storyline, and at least most of them actually let you make your choices in the context of the action instead of just picking a good or evil menu choice. Your moral alignment has a few effects on the game. It kind of determines how you look. You know, you look sort of pristine if you're down the good path, but you get a more craggy and evil if you're playing a bad guy. It determines if your lightning is red or blue. It kind of colors the way that civilians will react to you when you run by. But in the most kind of basic mechanical sense, the moral choices actually play into which abilities you've got access to. Just about all of the powers are upgradable, and most of them actually have good and evil upgrade paths. The good powers basically are just sort of about restraining enemies without killing them, minimizing collateral damage, preventing innocent casualties, just sort of containing your destructive potential. The evil powers go just completely to the opposite end of the spectrum. It's all about crazy, wanton destruction, no regard for anybody who gets in the way, just blowing up everything in sight. It's two pretty different play styles, and they're both fun in their own way. And honestly, the core action of the game is so good, there's a pretty good chance you'll probably want to play through twice just to see all of the variations on the different abilities. inFamous is an open world game, so there's a strong element of exploration in Empire City. There's a ton of side missions all across the 3 main islands in the game. In addition to just giving you a bunch of little objectives to pursue, they also contribute a lot of experience points that you can use to upgrade your abilities. There are also 2 varieties of collectibles spread around the game world, and they're both worth pursuing. One of them fills in your sort of ammo capacity. It makes you able to use your powers a little bit longer. And the other one fills in little elements of the backstory as you go along.
Based on the evidence I've collected, I'm recommending immediate action be taken against Kessler.
And since just the basic climbing and getting around the city is so much fun, it's really worth going after him just for that reason alone. The quality of the action is really the main attraction in inFamous, but it doesn't hurt that the storyline actually ties all that action together as you go along. The longer you play, the more interesting and faster paced it gets, and as everything really comes together, it starts throwing you more and more sort of unexpected curveballs. And really, like all good comic book origin stories, this actually provides a really good starting point for a franchise. Sucker Punch has really delivered with this game on all fronts, and it's really one of the best exclusives so far on the PlayStation 3.